How's everyone doing? So I just decided to take time and make something up or record something. Um, I hope it can be for the benefit of uh, changing the way you think, or perhaps helping you think about some things um, more often than you do. And I I care if you watch, but at the same time, I don't mind as much if you do not watch, because perhaps I I have seen that from the time I set up my page. It's not like I have many views or even followers or subscribers, just like any other, you know, um, sort of a person would have. So it kind of um, gives me that comfort that I know not many people are watching, or not many people might even be interested in the first place. So I'm just, recording this maybe to leave it on record as a therapy, but at least you you might not be as advantaged or with the resources as many people do, but perhaps you're going to your best to try and do something about the different observations that you make, and perhaps don't have the action point of doing something simply because of certain things that really control the society that we live in as human beings. With that being said, you have to come to an understanding with yourself and perhaps with other living humans that um, some things might go questioned, or yeah, in some places some things being done might go questioned because one, you have different traditions and perhaps norms that take shape in different places. So it's kind of it's kind of a limiting factor. So from time to time, I really like having honey as I talk, because then it's a way of clearing your throat and perhaps being more audible. So I like to mm, take a bite of it on the spoon. Yeah, but I hope you bear with me, because from time to time when that happens, and uh, at least you have an explanation of why it could be happening like that. So yeah, I was having a little breakfast from like a different food that I cook, and it was left over from the previous night. So I'm like, why not have that before you run around and think of, cooking again and all that. But as you have it, try and put out these different ideas that bubble up in your mind from time to time. And the best way to put out these ideas is for me not to just explain a bunch of things that might relatively take a different meaning or a different shape in the thought process of another person. and perhaps instead pose questions of which, if one is intrigued to find out the answers to these questions, maybe then they can have a spark of them thinking differently, or thinking in a direction that could be leading to the similar answers, depending on whoever embraces what is being said and can take it on. Or again, it can still fall to the side of, you're not, somebody is not able to even have an interest to listen or even process. And yeah, I think that is so common in today's time, that people really watch for the excitement and for the thrill to certain things. And if there is no excitement and thrill that they're getting from it, then it's rather they do not spend their time trying to listen or trying to even have time for it. So I had generally thought of doing like many people try to do on certain videos, by putting a screenshot on the whole video, and then in the background it's somebody talking, and they're trying to mention points from point to point to point to point to point, but the points are really like floating points. They're really like assumptions that somebody throws out. And certainly, if you haven't been following this person, or if you haven't been listening to this person, the different assumptions that they throw out can easily trigger either happiness or sadness, or a certain part or a certain form of feelings within you, to make it more vivid, in that you have a stretch of either liking or viewing or sharing or stuff like that. You can notice I rarely even want to talk about subscribe or share to this, and because for as much as you can go telling people to do that, like I said, everyone is looking out for the thrill in what they are putting to their table. And the faster something can get somebody thrilled, the faster they will like, the faster they will share, the faster they will subscribe and follow, because every other day that goes by, they just want to get that thrill. And it's okay, it's understandable. So I just had to address those things. Prior to starting, so I'm going to call this video point of view, and perhaps the description of it is going to be how is it. In a sense, what I'm saying might sound as poetry, but it's not driven at the sense of making poetry in the message that I'm trying to deliver, but it's a message that I'm trying to put out. In consideration to that, I might want to like repeat the same, say, line of stuff that I've written down, because they're short questions. However, they have a starting that is, with the same kind of introduction. So that's why I'm saying it might feel like poetry. But in a sense, it's not. I've given you the reason as to why I'm doing the whole thing. So I could take a piece of paper and start to perhaps get into that before my voice gets back to that, and I probably need honey to cover up for that. So, point of view. How is it that some parts of the world are covered in more trees compared to others? How is it that deserts have remains of extinct species of animals in most cases? How is it that wood is a vital component in the building of houses and other structures, whereas trees play a role in extracting CO2 or carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? How is it that humans and other animals depend on oxygen and not carbon dioxide? How is it that carbon emissions occur on Earth? And how is it that one tends to experience extreme low levels of carbon dioxide compared to oxygen in areas of the Earth that still experience snow? How is it that the so-called fourth intelligent species of animals on Earth cannot plant trees in the deserts to make them green, but continuously complain about climate change? How is it that only humans, among other animals, do or have a completely different and opposite form of thriving, stroke survival, and don't see a fault or a problem in that? Like I said, these are just intriguing questions that might lead one to think in a certain way. I might read them from backwards to front just to make sure that you got everything. So, again, starting from the last question, how is it that only humans, among other animals, do or have a completely different and opposite form of thriving and survival and don't see problem in that? How is it that the so-called fourth intelligent species of animals on Earth cannot plant trees in the deserts to make them green but continuously complain about climate change? How is it that one tends to experience extreme low levels of carbon dioxide compared to oxygen in areas of the Earth with snow? How is it that carbon emissions occur on Earth? How is it that humans and other animals depend on oxygen and not carbon dioxide? How is it that wood is a vital component in the building of houses and other structures, whereas trees play a role in extracting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? How is it that deserts have remains of extinct species of animals in most cases? How is it that some parts of the world are covered in more trees compared to others? Point of view. If you pick something, well and good. I might stop this video because I'm probably running out of space and have to upload it and then things of that sort. But I just thought I should read these things or put out these ideas so that in any case the curious minds get to find this somewhere on the platform, on the media platform. They might have an interest to listen and might take a time to think of the same things that I was thinking about as I wrote these things down. And thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe if you wish to. And please please listen and learn something, if at all you are in the position to learn. And perhaps I appreciate you for the positive advantage that you might add to the world by the different action points you might have after thinking through the different questions that I've posed. And yeah, perhaps recommend it for other people and see what the world would be like if we had these questions being answered correctly. Um, Again, I didn't say something. Keep this mind out. I hope you have a nice time and enjoy yourself.